and we are in the community wing of City Hall. A special welcome to students who appear to be invisible at the moment. They are from FPC High School TV program, and they are behind the dark window over there practicing for an event that we have upcoming this week. So just know that we have students here learning a little bit about what we do, so appreciate that. So with that said, would you please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if I could ask the clerk to do a roll call, please.
Mayor Alphen.
Present.
Vice Mayor Branquino.
Right here.
Councilmember Barbosa.
Here.
Councilmember Danko.
Here.
Mayor and City Council, Councilmember Nick Klufis, due to extenuating circumstances, would like to appear via Zoom. He is not probably ready just yet, but as soon as he's available, he will join Zoom with council concurrence for his ability to participate and vote.
Councilman?
Council, just want to make sure, this, I believe it's for the, we need to get on the record that this was, the nature of this was a family situation with regard to, I believe, a niece that just arrived on the scene. Yes. And under the rules that apply to us for Attorney General rules, that this would suffice legally as an extraordinary circumstance, which would allow his participation this evening remotely, as we do otherwise have a quorum. Just want to make sure that's on the record.
Let the clerk know that we have a consensus to approve.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to open the meeting for public participation. So I would ask each member of the public that would like to come forward and address the dais. I would ask you to keep your comments to our 3-minute rule. I will remind you if if we begin to exceed. But please step forward at this time, and we look forward to your comments.
Good evening, Mayor. Mayor, I'd like to address a little concern about the property on 6 and 10 Market Avenue.
I'm sorry, sir, would you give us...
Oh, sorry. My name's Al Hurley,
Thank you.
16 years of resident in Palm Coast. Again, I'd like to address the problems at 6 and 10 Market Avenue in the town center. Each day, there is a homeless gentleman there, sits there every day from Monday to Sunday, and by himself, and then he's joined by 2 more people there every single day. The problem I'm having there with my local residents is the trash being built up in those lots. It's really bad. Not too many people drive out that exit there where the dollar store is located at to go out the other exit. But now it's really getting out of hand. And I'm really afraid that we might find that little critters might be floating into the neighborhood area. So I just want to bring this to your attention. That's all I want to do, is that someone will take a look at the property there, and hopefully they will take care of the situation there. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please. Okay, just so let the audience know that we're going to be listening to each speaker's comments, but we're going to avoid hand clapping and any other kinds of outbursts in public so that we can we're going to keep our decorum. We'll all keep our decorum this evening, okay? I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Mary Roudson, and the Rowdy people are my Holland pickleball friends that have come to support me in my 3 minutes of fame here. The game of pickleball has exploded over the past few years, and it's the fastest growing sport in America, and yet there's not one dedicated pickleball court in Palm Coast. Holland Park is considered the marquee park of Palm Coast. The 2 phases of construction that added a splash pad, basketball courts, bocce ball, all have been added or upgraded at a cost of over $9 million, and yet no pickleball courts. There are 3 tennis courts, but only 2 have been striped for pickleball, which yields 4 pickleball courts with portable nets that we have to bring individually. Every morning at Holland Park, there is an average of 30 to 50 people wanting to play, but only a maximum of 16 can play at a time. Those numbers will increase during the winter months as snowbirds arrive and want to play. The pickleball community has been promised dedicated courts for over 4 years, and there has been delay after delay after delay. First, a delay in deciding the location. Then we were told the splash pad took all the allocated funds. Now the tennis center is on hold. People are so frustrated with crowded courts, lack of playing time, that there are no other areas. They're all going to other areas such as Pictona or St. Augustine to play because there's no courts. I would like to suggest taking allocated funds for the pickleball courts at the tennis center and placing them at Holland Park. Behind the current tennis courts, Palm Coast could add 10 dedicated pickleball courts. Since the tennis center is on hold as of August, this would provide a quicker solution for the pickleball community and much-needed amenity for the premier park of Holland. Last month, the Palm Coast Park and Rec hosted a Pickle in Pink tournament, and there were 78 participants using those 4 courts. It lasted all day, almost till dark. But just think, with 10 courts available, the participation could be an additional revenue from, for the tournament for the city. Holland Park is the perfect location as it's near the interstate, hotels, restaurants, and grocery stores. I would like for you to take time and consideration to please add the pickleball courts to Holland and get rid of the tennis center pickleball courts. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I would invite the next speaker to come forward.
Hello and good evening. My name is Sherry Sanders, and I want to touch upon what the gentleman said about the litter problem in Palm Coast. Now, there are a couple dedicated groups that do clean up. One is the Flagler Democrats, who clean up along Belterre from Palm Coast Parkway to Pine Lakes. Also, the Flagler Beach Democratic Club, part of the Florida Department of Transportation, Adopt a Highway along Highway 100. Both of these groups have volunteers. They participate quarterly or at least 4 times a year per the agreement. And I thought that Palm Coast and even Flagler County as a whole should think about the following. Approve a local ordinance so they can collect the fine. And also, in addition to the fine, the perpetrator, to me, should be given 2 hours of community service, perhaps picking up litter along the roadway. I think you tie that into the 2022 branding contest as suggested by your staff. I think that would be a great way to kick off community and school involvement and really get the backing for a new citywide litter program, an adopt a street or neighborhood program where the city could provide the signs for the groups, some safety vests, disposable gloves, trash pickers, and a box of trash bags. In exchange, the group would agree to pick up trash at least 4 times a year as part of that agreement. Thirdly, I think the use of PSA announcements to kind of get the community involved, aware of the programs, would be a great way to get local organizations, clubs, religious groups, schools, and local sports teams, and also asking businesses to do their part in the program. And lastly, if we develop an annual calendar of cleanup events, perhaps tie the spring cleaning into the winter of the branding contest, we could get a lot of follow-through. Then if we add in Arbor Day, Earth Day, annual neighborhood cleanup day, think of all the people we can motivate to clean up our city. And according to the Keep America Beautiful 2020 study, 90% of all Americans believe that litter is a problem in their state. It is significant, but it is solvable. Let's do our part in Palm Coast to plant pride, not litter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Robert McDonald, Palm Coast. Code enforcement. When I moved here 6 years ago, friends of ours told us that the only thing that was ever going to bother you in the whole city of Palm Coast was code enforcement. Well, I thought he was full of it. Well, code enforcement is getting worse instead of better. I particularly live in the R section, so I did some research. In the R section, no other city, just the R section, we have 65 miles of roads, 65. So if the inspector goes out and works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, he doesn't have to drive very far to get the whole R section covered in one day. It takes 3 to 4 days to do the R section because the R section's got RAs, RYs, no, still got 65 miles of roads. So if you're driving even 6 hours a day, that's not a lot of driving to cover 65 miles. Now, my other problem with code enforcement is that, unfortunately, some rhyme or reason, long before my time, they developed that code enforcement was going to be strictly reactive and not proactive. So that means that if you're driving down Rimfire and you get a complaint that there's garbage or whatever, a complaint at 100 Rimfire, and it might be all the way at the other end of the city, he could drive past 10, 15, 20 houses that all have violations, and it's like this. You don't stop. And I've seen that. I saw it today. Code enforcement was driving down the street in front of me, stopped, I looked, sure enough, there was a reason for him getting out of the truck. But in the meantime, I passed 5 or 6 other houses that all have everything from trash cans to high grass to cars to boats to trailers. Now, in my 40 seconds, I want to compliment that woman that stood up here a couple of times and she complained and she waved that little book that the city gives her on code enforcement. That book only goes over the highlights. That does not go over the little details. So somehow we got to revamp it so that everybody who moves into the city, they can't play, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, you did know. So we need to revamp code enforcement seriously. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
I'm Al Cryer, and I'm here to speak again about safety on Cimarron. And I'm mainly going to speak about the petitions tonight. Number 6 and 7 is done, and I gave Virginia Smith a copy. There were 7 petitions in all. Number 6 was the Cleveland neighborhood off of Cimarron. The last one is a little bit different. Out of the 6 petitions, they were all signed, house to house, by residents of Palm Coast. Number 7 involves the sanctuary, and Mr. Meredith sent a letter to you. I know you had it, and you had mentioned it to me, where the people of the sanctuary would not allow us to go house to house for petitions. So we met with the board met with the entire board, and then the board met with 154 residents, got their opinion, and they sent a very, very nice letter to the city, just encouraging some activity on safety on Cimarron, be it a sidewalk or whatever, to get it a lot safer. So there's seven petitions on file now, and this is pretty much the end of it. I'm just going to warn you a little bit. There's some people coming down from north. We may throw in a miscellaneous along the way just to get some more people that are in favor of it. Out of this there's 800 people that have to use Cimarron every day to go any place. These petitions represent 634 of those residents. I owe a debt of gratitude to the volunteers. They have come out of the woodwork. 37 people, I call them blockers, went house to house and met residents and got the petition signed. That was done in July, August, and September, pretty hot. Two things always come up with the residents. One of them is they says, hey, we know there's gonna be a fatal accident sooner or later. Number two is keep us in mind. We live here. We know you've gotta do a lot of things for the people that are moving in the area to make it a great city, which it is. But let's keep the people in mind that also live here. And that represents almost 634 out of the 800 residents. So also another thing which I would like to mention is that I got to thank the city. They've been just fabulous. The council has been fabulous, and we just have to move it forward. Out of these residents here, there's almost $4 million of taxes coming in here. So let's just move it forward, and let's get Cimarron safer. I always end this way. This is a nice place to live. I like it here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Donna Sabatino. I am actually a resident of Flagler Beach, but I am a nurse and a volunteer here at the Health Department as well as the county. And I'm going to kind of add to what my dear colleague Mary and my dear friend was talking about pickleball. So generally just kind of thinking about a few things. Isn't our overarching goal to have healthier, vibrant, and more active members in our community? And as a nurse and an active pickleball player, but ex-tennis player, which many of the pickleball players are, and we're seeing the tennis courts more and more vacant, the social, physical, and well-being as well as mental health benefits are instrumental to our population. Having people sit around waiting upward of 15 or 20 minutes for a court really serves no purpose for better health benefits that pickleball can bring. The Palm Coast pickleballers are here, and some of the most active and vibrant adults I have ever met in the city of Palm Coast. And we really need to meet the needs of these citizens and residents. We have the space, we have the budget, and we definitely can make this a priority for the city of Palm Coast. We already mentioned, or Mary already mentioned, how it could improve our infrastructure, and we know infrastructure is a big deal now all across the United States, and we also know how it could improve revenue. Thank you.
And thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Hello, Mayor. Paul Vargo, Colorado Drive. I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but I brought up a few weeks ago about the graffiti on Palm Harbor Bridge, and I want to thank you for taking care of that in a prompt manner and doing it right. They didn't just paint over the graffiti that was there. They eliminated that graffiti and got it off of there, and I think that's very important that it was done in a quick manner, because it sends a message out there to the people who are doing this that we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to take it. But again, thank you for that. The other thing I want to bring up at this time, and I have a couple of them, but I'm going to get myself a little better organized with it, and that is the subject of B&Bs in our neighborhood. During this past summer, we had about 4 of them in the 2-block area where we're at, and I get it. People are on vacation, but I'm not on vacation for 90 to 120 days. And I don't know what the guidelines are. This will be part of what I'm going to try to put together. I'm going to get, like I said, I'm going to get some more information on it and to see how we can address that so that everybody's happy on both sides. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I would invite the next speaker to the podium. Seeing none, I will close the public participation for this part of the meeting, and I would invite any council member, any comment at this time?
I just have one comment. Actually, I had two people speaking about the pickleball courts, and I believe it was Miss Mary told us that the tennis center is on hold as of last August. I have no idea. I have no idea whether, as far as I'm concerned, it's not on hold, ma'am. But if there's anything else you should know, if you want to wait until the end, I'll gladly speak to you about it, and I'll ask for more information. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not on hold. I'm sorry, we can talk, ma'am. I'm sorry, okay? But if you'd like to wait until the end, I'll gladly inform you properly. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick, as to the last speaker, the gentleman was raising concerns about B&Bs. I think he was referring to Airbnbs.
They're like 3 to 10-day rentals.
Okay, that's probably Airbnbs. I just wanted to let the gentleman know that the state of Florida legislature has stepped in and has created statewide preemption for local governments in the regulation of Airbnbs, short-term rentals. So there are guidelines in the state statutes for how those types of uses must be regulated by local governments. So we have to follow the state guidelines. And they're available. I mean, there's a resource online to get those regulations, but I would suggest that's where you'd want to start.
Okay, with that, next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our meeting of October the 19th. I would ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
And we have a second. Any discussion, any changes? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Clerk has that.
Motion passes 4-0.
Very good. We'll move forward on the agenda to our proclamations. The first proclamation, Councilman Barbosa, if you would. And get ready, this is a very scary one.
This was a great event. I had fun. Mayor was also there. And what a great event. I saw a lot of pictures on the Facebook there. Those lines look very long. All right, so whereas the Palm Coast Fire Department hosted their first Hall of Terror 20 years ago in the lobby of the former Station 21 as a way for Palm Coast firefighters to offer the children in the community a safe and fun Halloween environment. And whereas the fire department, career staff, volunteers, and families have been scaring thousands of residents and visitors, ages 12 and up, creating one of the most primary haunted house in Florida. And whereas over the years, brave souls who dared to enter the Hall of Terror have seen treated to frightening memories of the gates of hell, the horrors of Stephen King, the Carnival of Carnage, and the alien invasion, and the infamous terrorizing clowns. And whereas the Hall of Terror was established in 2001 by Chief Gerard Forte and the original Boo Master, Lieutenant Richard Klein, before passing on the terror to Lieutenant Dan Disco. Did I say that right? Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that last October 25 through 31st was Hall of Terror Week. Now let it further proclaim that October 31st will forever be recognized as Hall of Terror Day throughout the City of Palm Coast. Signed, 2nd day of November 2021, Virginia Smith and Mayor David Alford.
could say a couple of words. 3 minutes is all I don't even know if I can fill that much time. The most remarkable thing I can say about this event is a lot of the positive feedback that I got from people leading up to the event about some of the press that we've done. And they've asked, wow, you did really good at that. And I'm not a public speaker. I don't enjoy it. I envy you guys for your ability to do that. But the discussion I had with my wife and some other people was, I don't do it because the chief tasked me with doing it. I don't do it out of obligation. I do it because I love to do it. And that's the same reason that Rich started doing it back in the olden days, and he passed it on to me because he saw it the same way. And so when I spoke about it with the press, and I spoke about it with the councilmen and the mayor when they came by the station to check it out, I spoke from the heart because it's something I enjoy doing. And we don't get paid extra money. This isn't incentivized to do it. This is doing it because we believe in the project. And the collaboration that we get from the city as an organization, the Volunteer Association, and the Firefighters Union is really remarkable to see 3 large organizations like that come together, and to make it all worth it, the feedback that we get from the citizens. And I just wanted to remark that this year we saw the highest number that we've seen since we moved to the new fire station of just about 3,100 people. And we were really blown away, and we had a real safe event. We had no incidents, no issues, and we were almost terrified ourselves that it went so smoothly. So it's truly a blessing, and we couldn't have done it without the 3 organizations and the support of the city, and you guys are just awesome. So we really appreciate it.
I would only ask if we are permitted to quote you, "I do it because I love to do it."
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of spooking.
Mayor, Council, this event is, it's a legacy at this point. For 20 years, we've been doing this. Anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people a night would go through this, and you can estimate it wasn't in the hundreds or the thousands, but the tens of thousands of people over the last 20 years that have gone through here. For not a single dollar did it cost them to come into this event and have a place to go with their family. One of the biggest complaints that you heard 20 years ago is there's nothing to do in Palm Coast. And Rich and I started this way back with a bunch of people that wanted to have fun and scare some kids a lot. But at the end of the day, it gave them a place to trick or treat and then go have fun. And it's a reoccurring event that happens, and we look forward to what will happen in the next 20 years. I couldn't be prouder than Dan and Rich for starting this years ago and continuing it on. There's a legacy that goes along with it. It's not what they have to do, it's what they want to do. And to see all the new fresh faces coming in to support this idea that we have anywhere from 15 to 30 volunteers a night that come in to support this program, and it does nothing but bring families to the community. Our whole aspect of our cultural change in the fire department is to get back to that hometown feeling. Part of the community, part of the organization, we encourage our employees to remain in the community, raise their families here, be part of us, and this is just one of those staples that our organization provides, and it's a success. So we want to thank you, Mr. Barbosa, and we appreciate it.
Mayor, we do have a video that they would like to share.
Everybody, video on the
Rich
screen
Klein
now.
and I were the originators where we converted old Station 21 into a place where the kids would come by and just grab candy. And back then, we just operated out of the lobby. We had a couple of scary things, a coffin, a couple of moving designs, and then from there, it grew into the large event that it is now.
Chief Beadle was here. He was very proactive with it. We asked for something, we got it. We were able to buy equipment and grow every year, and it worked out really good.
There was a lot of kids out on Halloween. They didn't have a lot of things to do. And we looked at this as an opportunity for us to have a safe spot where families can come. They could start bringing their kids together, and what soon turned out to be kids bringing their kids into the event. For the better part of 17 years, I was an active participant. I was a clown, and the scary clown at that, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
So one of the things that I started when I took over back in 2012, and everybody laughs at me every year, is I actually write a full script. I start thinking, their characters, are there settings, environments that we want to accomplish? And then over the summer, then I start plotting out supplies and needs.
One of the main challenges we have every year is we do this in an operational fire station. There's crews operating out of it, and we try to stay out of their way the best we can. We've got new people this year that have been asking questions, when are we getting together, when are we starting to work on this? And it's kind of like, oh, cool, more new blood.
One of the things I can share with you this year is we went out and we got some upgrades to our lights and sound systems so that we can do some cool effects that we've not been able to do before, with like isolating sound to certain rooms, controlling lights remotely for certain effects.
There's a lot of work that gets put into this, and it scares people. That's the object.
I know that the citizens love it. I know that the team really loves it, and they're super excited about putting on a show.
It is part of our society. It's part of our culture. People know that Hall of Terror is part of the fire department, and they come for that reason, and that's why it's traditional in our service today.
Be ready to be scared.
Very nice. You all are always a very competitive bunch. I would love to see you throw out a challenge to fire departments across the country to top the effort that you did, because I think you would be a winner every year. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation will be regarding World Diabetes Day. So if you would come join me. In case the audience is wondering, there's a lot of blue in the room, and blue is the official color of the diabetes recognition. It's really very important because I would venture to say that everyone in the room either knows or is close to someone that has been affected by diabetes. So the only other comment I would make is that if you all keep coming back here for proclamations, you might have to build another hospital. Oh, you are building another hospital. All right, good for you. Proclamation. Whereas the American Diabetes Association estimates that nearly 34 million people in the United States are afflicted or are affected by diabetes, and another 88 million are still at risk for developing prediabetes. And whereas having diabetes elevates the risk of heart disease, amputation, kidney failure, and blindness, causing serious hardship for families across not only our county, but also our state and nation. And whereas diabetes screenings and self-management education will help individuals in the recognition of the symptoms of diabetes and provides an opportunity to follow suggestions for living quality lifestyle. And whereas the International Diabetes Federation has established November the 14th, 2021 as World Diabetes Day to educate citizens on ways to predict if someone is at risk for the disease, to help recognize the symptoms of diabetes, and to follow suggestions for living a quality lifestyle while they endure the affliction. And whereas the City of Palm Coast and Advent Health Palm Coast together recognize that the growing number of diabetics in our community make a strong case for devoting more resources to helping find a cure, provide screenings, education, and support in the required lifestyle changes. And whereas Advent Health Foundation Palm Coast has formed the Diabetes Alliance. This alliance represents City of Palm Coast, Flagler County Schools, Flagler County Health Department, Flagler County Free Clinic, and many corporate and private citizens that are all dedicated to beating diabetes. And whereas the Alliance will kick off November Diabetes Awareness efforts in Palm Coast by flying the Alliance flag, distributing diabetes resource bags, lighting up the town blue, and logo campaign throughout Flagler County to continue efforts to raise awareness and educate our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Palm Coast Mayor and City Council that November the 14th, 2021, as World Diabetes Day, and November 21st as Diabetes Awareness Month in Palm Coast to increase community awareness of the risk factors and symptoms related to diabetes in order to improve the likelihood that people with diabetes will seek medical attention to avoid the devastating complications of the disease. Adopted this second day of November 2021.
Thank you, Mayor Alphen, Councilman. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk about diabetes just for a minute. The Diabetes Alliance is a group of community organizations and people that care about diabetes. The City of Palm Coast is a huge partner with us, and we're hosting an event on November 14th right here next to the lake where we'll exercise for an hour in awareness and education. Mayor Alphen, we'd like you to join us. You are our MC that night, or the invitation has been going out. So we have a couple of our Diabetes Alliance members here that would like to say a few words. From the Flagler County Health Department, Melody, come say a few words.
So this might sound a little bit redundant, but first let me say sorry. Hi, my name is Melody. I'm a registered dietitian, and I work for Flagler County Department of Health. I teach diabetes prevention classes. And this might sound redundant. So 34 million Americans are living with diabetes, and 88 million have pre-diabetes. It's important that we bring awareness to this disease that can lead to heart disease, kidney disease, vision loss, and other serious conditions. Bringing awareness can help prevent, help manage this disease, and hopefully one day lead to a cure.
And a great partner of ours with the Flagler County Free Clinic, Phyllis Wolf.
Thank you all. I'm Phyllis Wolf, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been a provider for people with diabetes for nearly 40 years now. And after I retired, I started volunteering at the Flagler County Free Clinic. And please be proud of our free clinic, because we are serving the needs of the most needy in our community. And sadly, in my nearly 40 years to take care of people with diabetes, I have seen every complication you've talked about, and these quite often were in people who had access to health care. So can you just imagine what it's been like for citizens who don't have that access? And we're able to provide that. We have excellent qualified physicians, nurse practitioners, and other experts in the field of diabetes management care who are working diligently to try to serve the needs of our community. And actually, we've just been granted $10,000. We were awarded that grant to develop a diabetes education program for our very most needy population here in Flagler County. So please let everybody know that we're out there and we're there to help people with all kinds of issues, not just diabetes, but that's what I specialize in, and it's my love. So thank you again. Thank you for the recognition. Appreciate it.
And that's why the Diabetes Alliance is growing, because of that passion, and both the health department and the free clinic are boots on the ground with them. Special recognition to Kim Brown and Jared Dawson with their continued support of the events that we have for Advent Health. And one more, Wally DiAquino, closing comments, and we'll take a picture and let you get on. Thank you.
Just want to take the opportunity to thank you, Mayor Alphen, and everyone else here for the support one more time for another important topic and focus for our community. This makes a difference. We have great partners that we're working together here, but we need the help from everybody so we can get the word out. Thank you again for this opportunity.
So we look forward to seeing you on the 4th. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. All right, everybody.
Thank you, Wally.
Vice Mayor Branchino will deliver the third proclamation of the evening.
Ask the veterans to stand.
Yeah. At this time, if I could ask all of the veterans to please rise as we announce this proclamation. Thank you.
Actually, if you don't mind, get a little closer to me. You deserve it. Trust me. Thank you. It's a proclamation. Thank you. Whereas tonight's City Council meeting is the ideal venue to pay tribute to our local military men and women who've sacrificed their own lives to ensure the remarkable quality of life that we have here in Palm Coast. And whereas every single military veteran who lives in Palm Coast and or is employed by the city deserves meaningful recognition for selfless service and that they have showed in the homeland. And whereas the City of Palm Coast employees who are also United States veterans have had two different service careers, first in the military and then serving our government in a civilian life, making them unique individuals who deserve our distinct appreciation. And whereas we are indebted for all of these extraordinary men and women who've done things most people don't want to do, conquered places we would never want to visit, and lived at length in uncomfortable surroundings we can't even imagine. And whereas Palm Coast will be honoring the hundreds of local military veterans who safeguarded our freedom by providing a barbecue picnic November 11 to commemorate the distinguished service to our nation. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor of Palm Coast and City Council declares Palm Coast Veteran Appreciation Month. And urge every citizen to not only say thank you to our local military veterans, but to forever honor their service by expressing frequent, profuse gratitude for keeping us safe and free. Signed the 2nd day of November, Virginia Smith, City Clerk, and David Alphen, the Mayor. Thank you for your service, and I appreciate once again what you did and going out there for us to be able to be free over here. You went out there and you put your life at the hand of miserables. We would like to I wish to say a few words. I'll never shut up. It's all right, I'll make sure of that.
Chris Reese, Palm Coast, obviously. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Really appreciate the recognition. I think I can speak for the three of us. We did what we did because it was important to us. It wasn't for recognition, but and that's a compliment to you guys, in my opinion, that, you know, I say that I really appreciate everything.
Don't be humble. You are important, sir. You are important.
That's just me.
Once again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We'll move forward with the agenda. I'm going to beg just a moment of your time since we have students with us today who are learning our process. We always take this opportunity. So before I begin, I want to take a moment to discuss the City Council processes relating to approval or denial of items presented to Council at all business meetings. For each workshop, City Council receives a comprehensive overview of each item. At that time, it is Council's opportunity to provide opinions and ask questions on each item. The purpose of a business meeting is for Council to review and weigh all the evidence and take action with decisions based on all information presented, both at the prior workshop and today. Just as a reminder, items that are quasi-judicial in nature will require Council to base their decisions on only what is presented at the scheduled public hearings conducted at the scheduled business meetings. With that said, again, you can't see our students over there, but I'm sure they're listening, as are we. Okay, item number G on the agenda, ordinances. This is a second read. If the city attorney would indulge me.
Mayor, again, this is second read of an amendment to the future land use map. It's an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the City of Palm Coast 2035 Comprehensive Plan as has been previously amended. This is pursuant to section or chapter 163 of the Florida statutes. We're amending the future land use map or flume designation for 37.7 acres more or less of certain real property from mixed use and canal to residential, as described in more detail in the legal description, which is an exhibit to this ordinance, including a site-specific policy to limit development on the subject properties to 3 dwelling units per acre, providing for conflicts, ratification, prior acts, codification, severability, and providing for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is an amendment to our future land use map, so it is not quasi-judicial. This is a legislative decision.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Ray Tyner, Deputy Chief Development Officer. Yes, City Council approved this at the September 21st last business meeting for this future land use map amendment. We have a couple slides that Senior Planner Jose Papa, just to remind folks for their second reading on this.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Jose Papa for the Community Development Department. Just to review this future land use map amendment very quickly. Again, we have a 38-acre parcel here that's located along Seminole Woods and south of the Iroquois Canal. The amendment is to change the designation of those parcels to residential, consistent with the parcels to the west, limiting the development there to 3 dwelling units per acre. And that this was heard again by, as Mr. Tyner said, at your October city business meeting, and was voted unanimously for approval. If I may go on, there's a companion zoning map amendment to this too, and this is the zoning map amendment. It's a change from various zoning districts of single family, commercial, and public, semi-public, and moving it all to master plan development. Again, this is for the Seminole Palms zoning map master plan development. You saw this the last time. Again, it's a single family and some townhouses is the proposed development here. And as directed by City Council, there was a request to look at some additional emergency access. And working with the applicant, we are able to identify that area in red as a potential, another emergency access to the east, at the east end of the project, and would serve well. It is adjacent to their amenity site, which again adds a double benefit in that to get to the amenity site, you might not necessarily need to get to Citation. You don't need to use Citation Boulevard to access that amenity site. So again, that item was also recommend, or the council voted approval for that item also. And at this time, the applicant's team is here in attendance if you have any additional questions.
I just wanna thank the applicant for that third exit. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it because it looks like it does make a difference having that third one, especially after looking at the display that we see here. Thank you very much for taking that in consideration.
Is this a sufficient refresher for council?
Yeah, I have some comments.
And is it okay? Just to be clear, and thank you so much for that.
Please.
It is going to serve as emergency
If the
access.
speaker would just identify yourself just
Jay
for our
Livingston,
record, thank
I
you.
apologize. Jay Livingston with Culture Development, or the applicant's agent, or the owner's agent. Councilman Branchino, you're welcome for that. It was a good point. It was something we were looking at, so it was actually nice to get that comment because it was a planning element that was already being looked at. But it's going to serve as emergency access, but it shouldn't be characterized as that. It's actually going to be a road, and it will tie into the parking lot, and then the separate agreement that has already been approved for the citation extension, the land exchange, and the building of citation, it calls for a cut into that amenity center. So we don't show it now because we haven't designed the amenity center in the parking lot, but when that is built and designed, there'll be an access point, and then it'll tie into the back of that parking lot, that parking area. So all those residents can drive straight to the amenity center without using citation, and you'll have that third access that you thought
That
was.
serves both purposes
Yes, sir.
then,
Yes,
even
sir.
better.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
make sure that was clear.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time before we go to the public? Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I don't think this is a bad project. My problem with this, it's not a gated community. With the different with the lot sizes being 40 by 120 and 50 by 120, brings up a question, can people now, because we're approving this, can they split their land in other areas of the city? Can they now split the land 40 by 120? Because we're allowing it for this project.
Yeah, well, typically, splitting lots, you have to comply with the minimum standards of the width of the lot. So it is typically in our 47,000 platted lots in the city of Palm Coast, you can't split them. Typically, what people do is they combine the lots to make one larger lot in the city.
But if we're gonna have 50 by 120 lots there, what is it to say they fight with the lawyer to split their lots?
Well, with this specific development, we have a development order that calls out the specific dimensions of what the lot size shall be in this development. So a 50-foot wide lot, you can't split it to be two 25-foot wide lots because this development agreement would not permit that.
I'm just saying, because the regular lots here are 80 by 120, so that gives them, may allow them to split it to 40 by 120.
Yeah, and you remember, there's a comp plan amendment here that limits them to a maximum number of lots. So they would not be able to split lots to get maximum number of lots because of the future land use amendment limits the number of lots they can have.
We have two agenda items this evening, just to put this in perspective. The one that of the title that I read is the comp plan amendment, the amendment to our comprehensive plan. And it does indeed contain a limitation, which is a little bit unusual, but it happens. We're not just amending the future land use designation, but we're also placing a condition on that change to its future land use. And that places a limit on the number of lots, the number of units that can be put there. What staff is saying is that with that condition, if there was ever an effort to come back to this council, to the city of Palm Coast, to further diminish the size of the lots in this development, they would not just need to change their zoning. They'd have to have a comp plan amendment for the future land use map.
Yeah, Mr. Barbosa, the easy answer is no, they can't do it. Yeah.
Does that satisfy your question?
Yes.
Okay. Question? All right, I will turn the ordinance out. Is there a public comment at this time regarding, can I do both of these together?
Yeah, we can have a public comment on both agenda items
Does
5 and 6.
Anyone wish to speak on the ordinance just read? Seeing no members of the public, I'll bring it back to the council. Is there any further discussion
And again, for the record, this is just on the ordinance regarding the comp plan amendment. We'll have a reading of the rezoning next.
So 5 and 6 are separate, even though they were able to
But
speak
we're
about it.
gonna take action on them separately. I've only read the title to agenda item G5, which is the future land use map amendment.
Move to approve G5.
I'm sorry, let me just finish the discussion. I just want to make one more comment, if I could, regarding Councilman Barbosa's precedential question. I think there's a density piece at play as well, which I think what he might be thinking about are there other lots around the city that this could be a precedent to do. And I'm pretty sure that your density grid would prevent that as well.
That plays into it too, but as Mr. Tyner said, also the bigger part of it really is the zoning designation that a particular lot has. An 80-foot lot, which might be zoned SFR2, that's at its, you cannot split it into two 40s because it would not meet the minimum requirement for an SFR2 lot. And so therefore, as Mr. Tyner has said, no, it won't happen. It won't happen.
Well, let me add one more thing. As a matter of, from a legal matter, what you do tonight, whether you approve, if you were to approve this evening, it's not going to create a legal precedent that would allow someone to come in and say, oh, but on November 2nd, you did this, so you have to allow us to do it. That's not how it works.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, I would ask for a motion.
Yes, move to approve ordinance G5.
So we have an ordinance to approve the first ordinance, and may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, is there any additional discussion at this time? Then I would go ahead and ask for a roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa?
No.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Mayor Alphen?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Sorry, 3-1.
3-1, yeah.
Correct, 3-1, okay.
We got you.
I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3-1, yes. And now we'll move to the second ordinance, which is the zoning map designation.
Mr. Mayor, Council, this is the corresponding rezoning that we've been alluding to. The title of this ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code. This is amending the zoning designation for approximately 239.6 acres, more or less, from single-family residential, 1, SFR1, neighborhood commercial, COM2, and public semi-public, PSP, 2, master plan development, MPD. The subject property is more particularly described in Exhibit A to the ordinance and graphically depicted in Exhibit B. This ordinance provides for severability for conflicts for non-codification, provides for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is quasi-judicial, and if there have been any ex parte communications that have occurred since the first reading of this ordinance, those need to be disclosed at this time.
None whatsoever here.
Councilman Barbosa?
Nope.
None, and none for me as well.
We have had staff presentation, I believe, and this has been open to the public, unless there's someone else that wants to talk about it some more. I think they're ready for council action.
Seeing no one from the public, no additional questions on the dais, then I would ask for a motion.
Move to approve G6.
We have a motion to approve. I would ask for a second.
I'll second it.
And we have a second. Any additional discussion? Roll call vote, please, if the clerk would.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa?
No.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Mayor Alphen?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-1.
Next item on the agenda, if the city attorney would indulge me again.
Of course, this is item G7. This is an amendment of our future land use map. The title is as follows. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the City of Palm Coast 2035 Comprehensive Plan, as previously amended. Pursuant to Chapter 163 of the Florida Statutes, amending future land use map or FLUM designation for 70.2 acres, more or less, of certain real property from mixed use to residential, as described in more detail in the legal description, which is an exhibit to this ordinance, and adding a note on the future land use map to limit the subject property to a maximum of 227 dwelling units for the subject parcel, providing for conflict, ratification, prior acts, codification, severability, and for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is a legislative matter.
Thank you, City Council, Mayor. Again, this item was approved by City Council unanimously on September 21st. This item, because it was a large-scale FLUM amendment, had to go to the state for approval. We had no comments from them. But since it's been 30 days, Mr. Papa has a couple slides just to show you.
Good evening again. Just for a refresher, this project is known as Seminole Trails. And it is both a future land use map amendment and a companion zoning map amendment. And this one is 70 acres of vacant land, approximately 1.5 miles south of State Road 100 on the east side of Seminole Woods Boulevard. The change here is the front half, it's about 70 acres, which are currently designated as mixed use right now, being changed to residential, which includes a site-specific policy that would limit the number of residential dwelling units there to 227. As Mr. Tyner mentioned, this item was sent to the state and for a comment, and we did not receive any comments or any recommended changes from the state agencies. And so that is the change, again, with a note to limit development to 227 dwelling units. The companion zoning map amendment, currently the parcel is zoned as master plan development, and the change to that is to single-family residential, which has a minimum lot width of 50 feet and 6,000 square feet for the entire lot. There's no change from the first reading, and the applicant and staff does recommend, along with the planning board, did recommend approval for both of these items. I believe council voted unanimously at the first reading to approve both items, and the applicant is here to answer any additional questions from council.
So I'll ask City Council any questions while we have them their attention.
Nothing changed, I have no questions.
No, sir.
Very good. Then I would ask the public, is there anyone that would like to comment on this ordinance second read at this time? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, come back to the dais. Any further discussion?
Move to approve G7.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
And a second as well. I would ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Branquinho,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa,
Yes.
Councilmember Danko,
Yes.
Mayor Alfin,
Yes.
4-0 passes.
Moving down the agenda, item number 8, please.
Mayor, Council, this is a quasi-judicial matter. This is the concurring rezoning. This is an ordinance of the City Council, City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code. This ordinance amends the official zoning designation for approximately 70.2 acres, more or less, from Master Plan Development, MPD, to Single-Family Residential 1, SFR1. Subject property is more particularly described in Exhibit A, which is attached to the ordinance and graphically depicted in Exhibit B. This ordinance provides for severability, conflicts, non-codification, provides for an effective date. This is the second reading of a quasi-judicial matter. As such, if there have been any ex-parte communications regarding this matter since the first hearing, those should be disclosed at this time.
No councilman, and myself, no councilman have had any ex parte communication at this time. So do you have a review for us?
No, sir. Mr. Papa covered it with the second slide for the zoning. We have nothing to add, sir.
Very good. Then I would ask any questions from City Council at this time?
None.
And I would open up to the public for public comment. Does anyone wish to make a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, and I would ask for a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second it.
And a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Branquinho,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa,
Yes.
Councilmember Danko,
Yes.
Mayor Alfin.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Moving along with the agenda, ordinance's first read. The city attorney would.
Yes, sir. This title of this ordinance is as follows. An ordinance of the City Council, of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code. Amending the official zoning map for 70.18 acres, more or less, of certain real property described as all or portions of tax parcel ID numbers as follows: 2012-31-0650, 30A00010, 2012-31-0650, 30A00020, and 2012-31-2950, 5000C0, generally located about 1 mile east of Belterre Boulevard, extending north from the existing terminus of Citation Boulevard to the southern portion of the Flagler County Airport, and more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A. We're rezoning from industrial and planned unit development, PUD zoning districts, to the single-family residential 1, SFR1, and a zoning district providing for conflicts, severability, providing for effective date. This is first reading. This is a quasi-judicial matter, Council, Mayor. So if there have been any ex-parte communications whatsoever with regard to this action, those should be disclosed at this time.
Do any council members wish to declare any ex parte? Councilman?
Nope.
None. No councilman have any ex parte communication.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council.
You again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. And the title of this was Grand Landings North, and it has nothing to do with Grand Landings. It's not associated with Grand Landings whatsoever. It's just an application name that the applicant provided. This property has a little bit of history. It was annexed into the city in 2015, along with some additional properties. There was a future land use map amendment that was conducted on the property, but the zoning was never completed on the property. It still has the county industrial zoning and portion of it PUD county, so this is more of a cleanup for a rezoning that correlates more with the city zoning to single-family residential 1 that would be consistent with the surrounding areas. But Ms. Myers, our environmental planner, will have the staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'll begin the presentation. This is the background for this property. It is outlined in red. As Mr. Tyner mentioned, it is at the end of the existing Citation Boulevard. It's a little over 70 acres. It's currently vacant with a small borrow pit at the front portion of the property, and as he mentioned, it was annexed in 2015. This is the current flume map. Its current designation is residential, as in the bright yellow. This is the current zoning designation. They are both county designations for industrial and planned unit development, or PUD. This is the proposed change to single-family residential 1. It would be consistent with the surrounding areas and the flume designation of residential. This is the conceptual site plan at this time. It has not been reviewed by staff. It is only conceptual for 138 single-family lots and a portion of the Citation Parkway extension. These go into the criteria findings. First criteria is consistency with the comprehensive plan. We find that it's consistent with policies for infrastructure availability and expanding urban uses where infrastructure is available. It's consistent with policy to diversify housing types, prices, and opportunities, and it has no additional impact on the natural environment. It limits impacts on public facilities, going from industrial and planned unit development to single-family residential, and it has no negative impact on the economy. Job opportunities will remain during the construction phases of the project. Changes in circumstance or conditions. No changes. Proposed change will reflect market demand for more residential development. Compatibility with proximate uses and development patterns. It will be compatible with residential development to the west and south, and no impact on uses to the east. This zoning change will remove industrial uses from residential areas and make it compatible with the residential flume designation that it currently holds. And it provides opportunity for housing diversity. Public participation. The applicant notified all residents within 300 feet of the property. A public neighborhood meeting was held at 6 p.m. October 12th at the Hilton Garden Inn. One sign was erected on the end of Citation Parkway, as there are no other road frontage for the property. And on October 20th, the Planning and Land Development Regulation Board voted unanimously to recommend to City Council that they approve the rezoning for this property. Planning staff and the Planning Board find the proposed rezoning, application 4873, consistent with the comprehensive plan, and recommend that City Council approve the rezoning of 70.18 acres from industrial and planned unit development to single-family residential 1 zoning district. The next steps would be a second reading at City Council. The subdivision master plan will be taken before the Planning Board, and then the final plat will come before City Council again. And the applicant is present to answer any questions you may have.
I just want to ask a question. Can you bring it back to the slide while he shows a little bit of the project?
Sure.
Mayor, City Council, just for the record, Councilmember Clufus has joined at the beginning of this item.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I see that you're gonna have Lavera Place, Lorette Place, LaBelle Place. Okay, it doesn't show the entrances to Citation Parkway. Is that any better, slide that I could look at?
No, I could tell you, you know, because this is a rezoning, there is no development plan. Basically, this is
Rendition.
a very conceptual, and as Ms. Myers had pointed out, we did not even review this for our criteria. It's not even at that stage yet. I think the applicant wanted to provide something just to show that what may be there as far as single-family residential.
And, okay, the applicant is here today, I gather.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any way you could, can you please approach, if you don't mind, if you don't mind that I ask a question. Any possibility you could have a little rendition, at least as how the development is gonna be looking like? By the time of the next reading?
Vincent Sullivan, Chimento Law here on behalf of applicant JTL Developments. We can certainly speak with our client and see if they want to refine the plan a little bit, but as Mr. Tyner has said, and Ms. Myers has indicated, that this is a very rough conceptual plan. If you look at the very south end of the property, but I believe it's Luella Place is where the extension for Citation is anticipated to go across. Obviously, no engineering or site planning has been done at this stage.
Just in case if your client agrees to, just give us a rough idea.
Would you like an expanded version of that?
No, I just want to see ingress and egress.
Okay.
To this project. That's basically what
I can certainly talk with them and work with city staff, see if we can get a more detailed graphic image for you before second.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
You said this is an industrial, is there any other industrial area around this, or is it all residential around this?
Yes, we actually do have, off of Seminole, there's some industrial lands not too far from here. You can't see it off the map, but we do have some industrial lands close by. You can see some of it to the north there, and then some of it is more industrial lands or to the east of that.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? While we have the applicant? No? Thank you. If we have no additional questions, I would open this to the public for any member of the public that would wish to comment on this item. Seeing none, I will bring it back to the dais. Any further discussion at this time?
No, and I'll move to approve this first reading.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
And a second as well. Any additional discussion? If you would roll call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Branquinho?
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa?
No.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus?
Affirmative, yes.
Mayor Alphen?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
We'll now move on to our consent agenda, and I would ask members.
Mayor, we have one item. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have the appointment of the 3 regular
I'm sorry,
members and
missed
1
that.
alternate.
My apologies.
That's okay.
So sorry. I will put the city clerk in charge.
Sure. Mayor, City Council, there are vacant seats on our code enforcement board for 4 seats that are open. There are 4 applicants. We will take each seat individually, alphabetically, and we can go that way. So we have the first seat is held by Andrew Dodzik. If you could mark your ballot and hand them in, and then I will ask for Councilmember Clufus's vote verbally to record. So Council and Mayor, Andrew Dodzik's seat, he's requesting reappointment for his seat.
What do? We verbally tell you?
No, you fill yours out. I'm going to verbally do Councilmember Clufus and tally a sheet for him.
Check mark we do.
Yes.
Need a collection?
Sure, thank you.
I don't know these people.
If you need any information, you can request more information. Okay.
A couple seconds here.
Hang on just a second. Councilmember Barbosa is still considering.
We're right here and just here.
We're looking at the seat that is currently held by Andrew Dodzik. He's seeking reappointment, and this decision is whether to reappoint him or not.
Just for the record, Councilmember Branquinho and Councilmember Barbosa had swapped. I had labeled them, so I'm going to fix those, but both had voted for Dodzik. But just for the record, I wanted to announce that.
Thank you.
Tricking us.
We'll move on to seat 2.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
We've received 3 votes for Andrew Dodzik and 1 for Geraldine Wright. Oh, sorry, Councilmember Clufus, your choice for Andrew Dodzik.
I would vote yes. I would vote for Dodzik. Sorry, my grandfather clock is going off, but yes, Andrew Dodzik.
So we have 4 for Dodzik, 1 for Wright. Is there a motion?
Wait a minute. Oh, okay. It's 4-1, so one person didn't vote for that.
For Mr. Dodzik, correct.
Okay, all right.
The motion would be to reappoint Andrew Dodzik for this seat, for the Code Enforcement Board.
Motion to approve it.
So I have a motion to approve. May I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second. I guess I better do a roll call vote.
Okay. 1 second.
Oh, we voted already.
This is just
Oh,
for
to approve.
Dodzik's seat. Vice Mayor Branquinho,
Yes.
Councilmember Barbosa,
Yes.
Councilmember Danko,
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus,
Yes.
Mayor Alphen.
Yes.
5-0 for Dodzik. One second, please. Moving on to the seat held by Norman Mugford. Mr. Mugford has completed 2 terms already, so if council chooses to pick Mr. Mugford, it will take a 4/5 vote for him to be approved.
Mayor, Council, just to explain a little bit further, Mr. Mugford is the chairman. He's been the chairman for a while for the Code Enforcement Board. He's already served two terms. Your code allows him to serve more than that, but because it's been 2 terms, the code requires that there be a 4/5 vote as opposed to just a simple majority. So that's how this one, and that's denoted in your agenda item as well, and that is a code requirement. So he has to get 4 yeses.
Councilmember Clufus, your vote for Mr. Mugford's seat.
Would be Norman Mugford, yes.
Thank you. I need a vote, not just I need a vote for one of them. So Dodzik is off, so you would have to pick between one of them. Thank you. Councilmember Barsos, I would like to clarify your vote.
That was a yes.
Okay, it's for the second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have a 4/5 vote for Mr. Mugford and 1 for Ms. Wright.
The appropriate motion would be to reappoint Board Member Mugford at this time.
Let me see if I get this correct. What was the-
Councilmember Clufus voted for Mr. Mugford,
Oh, he did vote for?
for Mr. Mugford.
But I thought I heard no.
Yours was a no.
Okay, but I thought I heard no. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if I heard from, okay, no, I just thought I heard no. That's the reason why. And I voted no, so I thought that was, at least 2. But, I don't know what, I thought that Councilman Clufus voted no for Mugford. Did I hear it correct or no?
I think the clerk has.
No, yep, I had voted yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, the last seat is going to, sorry.
So I
yes,
think
that
we
was
have to,
Mr.
do
Mugford.
we have to
Hang on,
vote?
Hang on, we need a motion?
Yes.
And a
So-
vote
yep,
to
yep,
reappoint
yep.
Norman Mugford to the Code Enforcement Board. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I have a motion, and I have a second. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
This is for Mr. Mugford's seat.
Correct.
Vice Mayor Branquinho.
No?
1 second, please. Councilmember Barbosa.
Yes.
Councilmember Danko.
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus.
Yes.
Mayor Elfin.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1. The next seat is the vacant seat that was held by the late John Netz. You
Council-
have 2.
Council, if I may, let me, if you don't mind. This one is a little bit different because you've got 2 seats left, and you've got 2 applicants. And those applicants are Lee Pennick, and I apologize if I mispronounced his or her name, and you have Geraldine Wright. As you can see from the agenda item, Ms. Wright is the current alternate, and as the agenda item indicates, she is seeking a regular seat appointment. So the current, there's Lee Pennick and Geraldine Wright. Your next vote is going to essentially close out who can be a regular board member.
Alternate seat. Mr. Netz was a regular seat.
Right, so you're appointing you're either appointing Lee Pennick or Geraldine Wright to the last regular seat. And then, of course, the last vote, whoever's left, will be an alternate. I just wanted to point that out. What you're voting for right now will be the appointment to the last regular seat.
So who's in there now?
Right now, that seat had been held by former Mayor John Netz, so it's vacant. Okay? So I just want to make sure that's clear, so you know the consequences of voting on this particular item.
Do you want to do a voice, or do you want me to hand ballots for the last 2?
Ballots.
Totally.
Request was for ballots.
Okay.
Did you walk today?
Go ahead.
For 1, isn't it?
Yes, you vote either.
And the other one will automatically be the.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry we're making you work
No,
today.
it's fine. My job. Thank you, sir. Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Good, Eddie?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you. Councilmember Clufus, your voice vote, please.
Yep, I would vote for Ms. Wright to be a full member and for Ms. Pennick to be the alternate member.
We have 5 for Ms. Wright to be the regular member.
Is there a motion?
I have a motion and a second.
That motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And the clerk has that.
Yep,
Next.
and then we need a motion to appoint Ms. Pennick to the alternate
I'll
seat.
make that motion.
I'll
I have a
second it.
motion, I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we move down to the consent agenda. Do any members of council wish to remove any items from the consent agenda this evening? Then, is there any discussion? No. I would open for the public that would like to comment on any of our consent agenda items this evening. Seeing none, I will close public comment, come back to the dais. Any further discussion on our consent agenda this evening?
None, and I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The clerk has it.
Yes, motion passes 5-0.
Now, see if I get this right. I will open up for any additional public comment at this time. Do any members of the public wish to address the council? Seeing none, I will close public participation, and we will move to discussion by city council of matters not on the agenda. City councilman, any items that you'd like to bring up this evening?
Sure. I'd like to thank everybody that wished me happy birthday. And again, fire department for a great job on the.
Is it the councilman's birthday?
Yes, it was Halloween.
Nobody told me, so I wish you a very happy, healthy birthday, and apologies for not getting to you sooner. And may you have many more. Yes, sir.
Yes, I just also would like to thank the fire department for what they did, and I like their attitude. The chief just said something that's very, very important today. This fire department is so positively proud of being a big town department with a small town mentality. That speaks volumes. Once again, I never get tired of repeating this. Okay, you don't run that department like a family business. You run it like a family. So I thank you for that. The other ones are the students here today, TV students. But I think that maybe Councilman Danko would have some for his kids because that's her cup of tea. You've always been a producer and network. So I think that, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think these kids should have come to you and asked for advice if they have any to ask. I surely had the wrong one, okay? But I think this is definitely your cup of tea.
I'd be happy to oblige them. Absolutely.
Just to reinforce what the councilman said, the quote I heard tonight for the third time, I love what I do. Let that quote permeate all of the halls of City Hall. That would be just great. Next item on our agenda would be.
I have one announcement under your comments, please, Mayor. Sorry. We have handed out the city manager applicants to all of City Council a week early as our HR director was able to compile that for you for review.
Gentlemen, everybody has a binder? Very good.
Oh, I've been reading them.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yes, please.
I'd like to thank all the residents that stayed all the way through the end. Thank you.
Always a nice gesture. Thank you for that. I would ask the city attorney at this point, would you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
And next I will move on to the city manager. Any comments at this time?
Yes, Mayor, if I could. I have a couple of items. We started this evening on a very positive note of our talent in our fire department, and I would like to share a little bit about a program that's nearing its 10th year anniversary through the city manager's office. And that program is called the Light Team. That stands for Leadership and Training Excellence. This program takes employees from multiple departments and mentors them to help advance in their careers. Our current Light Team has revitalized our employee evaluation process, which is definitely a challenge as you navigate through that. This improved process will help both supervisors and employees have a real-time understanding of their level of expectation and performance throughout the year. And they actually, the team came to our leadership and recently provided what they propose as a new vision and actually solicited feedback from the different department heads. And this program should go live in spring 2022. And this is one of those programs that really highlights the innovative and forward thinking of our staff we have here at the city. And I actually am probably going to make one staff member uncomfortable, but Kevin Brinkley is actually here. He's on the light team. He's representing Public Works and in absence of Matt Mansell. And
Kevin, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. Okay.
And as I think about this program and I look at different staff here tonight that actually participate in the program and directly or indirectly, it really does represent growing talent and succession planning in the city of Palm Coast. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge a couple of the inaugural light team members, and that was myself and Chief Forte, who's our interim assistant city manager. And on that note, Chief Forte, I will also say thank you to our interim fire chief. I believe this might be your last city council meeting in that capacity.
Thank you, Ms. Bevan. Mayor, City Council. Shakespeare wrote in Henry IV that uneasy is the head that wears the crown, and I believe that's as very fitting as I stand here before you to acknowledge Kyle Berryhill. On June 1st, we had a night council meeting, and at that time, this city was facing a mayorless council. We didn't have a city manager. We didn't have direction. We didn't have a rudder in the ground, in the water, if you will. And I got a call at 9 o'clock in the morning, at which time we also didn't have two battalion chiefs. Sean Major had broken his arm a few months earlier and was out. Kyle Berryhill was in his third week of recovery after neck surgery. And Flagler County needed to have an interim fire chief to help out, and Deputy Chief Clark stepped up for that. And we had some communications with Ms. Bevan that she needed a helper, and I agreed to help her. And that was 5 months ago tonight. I called Kyle Berryhill and Sean Major at the time, who were both on medical leaves. They had their captain stepping up as battalions and filling in for them, and they asked, what do they need to do? The answer was apparent. Kyle called his doctor and asked for an early release so he can come back and fill in as the interim fire chief. Deputy Chief Clark and I decided to take on these other assignments, and the word that we put out is, although Brad and I were not getting a divorce, we are certainly taking our summers apart this year, and the crews were able to step up. Kyle Berryhill stepped up in a big way. He put his family on hold. We asked him to be the leader of the organization for a while. I was hoping his wife didn't hate me for it, and Danielle didn't. He put off baseball games. He put off time with his family. He lost his dad on August 27th, and he had to deal with that. He also saw what it was like to give out promotions. He hired people, which was the best feeling in the world. He had to do discipline, which is not on the fun side of leadership or management, but he did it with grace and dignity and fortitude. And I just like to tell you all that this organization is in good hands with Kyle Berryhill at the helm. And then on November 9th, I will happily relieve him of duty for 5 months of fantastic service to this community as the interim fire chief. That is the future of what this organization looks like. And I'd like to thank Kyle and his wife for allowing us to utilize him in that capacity as I rotate back to the fire department. But this is what a succession plan, this is what a good team looks like. That we had 2 battalion chiefs out, we had 2 chiefs out of the office, and we still ran the place. And it went well. And I'd like to thank Kyle for his duty and service. Thank you.
Chief, did we say you could go? Did we say you could go back?
I'm gonna go hug my guy.
Very nice. Beautiful.
I just think that, Chief, you couldn't say nothing better than those 3 words you said. Grace, dignity, and most of all, some people don't believe in it, fortitude. Thank you and you.
Thank you.
And if this city ever needs you, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna turn your face. Would be the 3rd time, so, hang in there. Whatever you do,
Let's try not to
don't
get to that
retire
point.
soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chief, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Wow, it's hard to follow up on that, but the last item on the agenda, I do want the public to be aware that we are proud to announce that the Innovation Challenge will be conducted on Thursday, November the 4th, from 5 to 7 p.m. for the UNF Nexus Innovation Challenge. There will be food trucks, music, and more. 6 teams of high school students have been mentored by UNF educators to formulate solutions to Florida's evolving healthcare needs. They'll be pitching their ideas to a panel of judges right here in the community wing of City Hall. The top 3 solutions will receive scholarship funds to continue their education. If you can't be there in person, it will be streaming live on our YouTube channel. FPC TV is producing the live stream that night, and 2 of those students are here streaming our meeting tonight. They're waving behind the glass, but we appreciate your being here then. So with that, please try to attend. This is an important step and statement for our City of Palm Coast to become an educational destination for the region for the future. So please, if you can, join us. And with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. I have a motion, a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Signature, please.